CBS 12 News starts now with breaking news.
Breaking news as we come on the air tonight. What was a car now unrecognizable. Firefighters are still on the scene of this car fire in Royal Palm Beach. This is a live look at the scene just a few blocks away from Royal Palm Beach Boulevard. This is the backstory. The driver who was inside his home at the time of the fire tells us that he had a welding tank inside the car, and when he hit the keyless entry button, the entire car exploded. Our news crew on the ground tells us windows in nearby homes have been blown out. Luckily, no one was hurt. Again, this breaking news scene unfolding in Royal Palm Beach. Will continue to follow this story in this newscast and on CBS12.com. Also breaking tonight, new information coming to light in the deadly crash on the Treasure Coast that left a young bartender dead and whose family is now suing Tiger Woods. According to a toxicology report just released, we now know the 24-year-old had more than just alcohol in his system. CBS 12's Maxine Bensel is live tonight near where the crash happened. So, Maxine, what have you learned?
Well, Liz, a report says that Nicholas Emmensberger's blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal limit the night he crashed here behind me. But the toxicology report I just got my hands on shows that he also had high levels of THC in his system. When 24-year-old Nicholas Emmensberger lost control of his car along Federal Highway in December, this newly released toxicology report reveals the active ingredient found in marijuana was also in his system. According to the report, Emmensberger had levels of THC well before his reporting limits the night he died. Emmensberger's family announced earlier this week they are suing Tiger Woods, his girlfriend, and the restaurant manager of the Woods in Jupiter for serving their son, who bartended there, too much alcohol the night he died. They say Woods and the others knew he was an alcoholic and knowingly overserved him regularly. The lawsuit also alleges there is evidence the Woods restaurant destroyed surveillance video from the night of the deadly crash that showed Emmensberger drinking at the bar after his shift. Earlier this week, Woods called Nick's death a terrible ending, saying he feels bad for his entire family.
Or just a simple phone call to us to go pick him up. Could have, you know, we were always right there, and it could have. But they just served him until he basically couldn't walk.
Now, we did reach out to the family's lawyer to see how this may affect the wrongful death lawsuit, but we have yet to hear back tonight. Reporting live in Stewart, Maxine Bensel, CBS 12 News.
Thank you, Maxine. And more breaking news tonight. Could we be on the brink of war? Tension is growing between the U.S. and Iran. Right now, Americans in neighboring Iraq are being ordered to get out as U.S. warships head to the region. CBS 12's breaking news anchor Thomas Forrester live in the studio with what this means. Thomas?
Liz, tonight Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the U.S. is not seeking a war with Iran, but is looking for Iran to behave like, quote, a normal country. He added, we will respond if our interests are attacked. Just hours ago, the State Department ordered all non-emergency personnel to leave Iraq and issued a travel warning due to rising tensions between the two countries. The administration has also deployed an aircraft carrier, a bomber task force, and other equipment and personnel, citing unspecified threats from Iran. The state-run news agency in Iran reports that the country's defense minister responded to the United States' actions, saying, quote, Iran has today reached the highest levels of defense and military power to rebuff all threats and the greed of the great devil, America, unquote. A U.S. official said Iran likely was behind recent attacks on oil tankers in waters off the United Arab Emirates, something that Tehran has strongly denied.
We're not going to provoke a war with Iran, and if they take the first military strike, we will take the last military strike.
The movement of diplomatic personnel is often done in times of conflict, but what is driving the decisions from the White House remains unclear tonight. Germany and the Netherlands have also suspended military training operations in Iraq. Now, tonight, Senator Marco Rubio added the information he's seen shows, quote, by far the single most imminent potential conflict of this significance in his 8 years in Congress, unquote. Liz?
Thank you, Thomas. New at 11, she is paid to take care of the elderly, but now she's accused of taking from them. A medical technician at the Isles of Vero Assisted Living Facility is accused of using her master key to break into apartments and steal cash, jewelry, and credit cards. That, according to the TC Palm. Detectives say 28-year-old Chelsea Langford pawned a victim's wedding ring given to her by her husband more than 60 years ago, and that was just one of 6 burglaries reported at the facility last month. The nation's strictest abortion ban is now law in Alabama. The governor signing the bill tonight, making performing an abortion a felony in nearly all cases. Women would only be able to get an abortion if their life is at risk. There's no exception for rape or incest. And doctors who perform abortions could face up to life in prison. The law will draw immediate lawsuits and could end up before the Supreme Court. Horrific animal cruelty allegations at a farm in Fellsmere, and tonight only on CBS 12 News, the Indian River County Sheriff is speaking out, explaining why no one faced any charges. And we do want to warn you, this video may be difficult to watch. The South Florida animal rights group Animal Recovery Mission, or ARM, went undercover and took these videos. In it, they say workers can be seen violently slaughtering goats. However, the state attorney's office and the sheriff say there wasn't enough evidence to charge anyone.
If there's any appearance that this was not a thorough investigation, that's incorrect.
The sheriff says the 2 men in the video could face charges. New details tonight on the deadly dog attack at the Humane Society of St. Lucie County. Fort Pierce police say the pit bull mix that mauled a 52-year-old volunteer to death last week had been found wandering on the streets a month earlier, but reportedly never showed any signs of aggression. According to the report, a volunteer was doing his rounds to feed the dogs and noticed the pit bull missing from its kennel. He told police he looked into the play area and found Christine LaCourie face down, covered in blood with extensive trauma to her head. Her death was ruled accidental, and the dog has since been euthanized. When mail goes missing, it's a frustrating experience, waiting for a package that never arrives, losing the money spent on shipping. But did you know there is money to be made on lost mail, and that the Postal Service and other shipping companies can sell your mail that they lose? CBS 12 News investigates. Danielle Wall explains how.
Stamped in Palm Beach Gardens for special delivery to Puerto Rico.
So it's definitely important.
Victor Colon paid a premium for this package to be delivered by Mother's Day.
I just have my first daughter. It's a little bit of pictures and stuff.
His main concern is getting it there on time. He's never thought about it getting lost in the mail, but it happens to millions of Americans each year, like Angela Erickson.
I can't remake these quilts.
Who made these quilts by hand, one for her uncle and one for her dad, but neither made it to its destination.
They don't realize how much time goes into these, and to see that it's lost and they may never see it is really hard.
Lost in the mail. We found where missing packages end up. Our crew traveled to Atlanta, where the U.S. Postal Service sends its undeliverable packages. Its mail recovery center is like a lost and found for missing mail. And after mail sits here for a few months, the Postal Service gets to sell it. Your stuff gets put up for auction on govdeals.com, and the post office pockets the profits. It's a process that surprises South Florida customers.
So if that's going on, I appreciate Channel 12 doing the report, and I would hope that the post office would get out a communication to all of its customers.
But the Postal Service doesn't seem to want to talk about it. When our crew went to Georgia to try and investigate the mail recovery center,
No, don't take pictures. It's totally off limits. No one's supposed to know we're here.
they were forbidden to take any pictures or video.
No, you can't take pictures here. It's off limits.
How much money does the Postal Service make on lost mail? They wouldn't say. Their statement read in part, the information requested is being withheld in its entirety because they don't want to give away trade secrets. CBS 12 News Investigates found an Inspector General report that showed the Postal Service recorded 88 million lost items to go through its recovery center in 2014. And of those, only 2.5 million were returned to the sender, less than 3%. What they sold netted the Postal Service $11 million that year. So how do you make sure your mail doesn't get put up for sale? If you've been missing mail for more than 7 days, the next place you might want to look is on the Postal Office's website. There, you can submit a search request, but the Inspector General warns the Postal Service does not effectively handle customer inquiries or manage undeliverable items.
And they should be a little bit liable you know, at some point they need to tell people why or how it got lost.
The best advice might be to put a slip inside the box with the shipping and return address information to give you the best chance of getting it back.
Our sister station found the practice of selling lost mail is industry standard. FedEx and UPS do it too. Danielle Waugh, CBS 12 News investigates.
Preparing at the port. Right now, police, deputies, and SWAT teams are training for a worst-case scenario, a terrorist attack at the port of Palm Beach. Preparing for things like a shooter opening fire inside the cruise ship terminal and watching for explosives or radioactive devices entering the port inside a cargo container. Tomorrow night, CBS 12 News Investigates is working on a story involving smuggling. With the increase of security at the southern border with Mexico, experts say smugglers will look for other ways to get into the U.S., and Florida is a prime target.
As the southern border becomes impossible or difficult to cross, you're going to come for the easier route, and this is very, very easy.
How secure is Florida's wide open border? Tomorrow night after SWAT on CBS 12 News at 11. And next at 11, a CBS 12 News health alert. The toxins discovered in a popular pain reliever. Plus, an end to robocalls, the new plan to block those annoying calls, and why you wouldn't have to even lift a finger.
Breaking news, a Jupiter High School student caught with a pellet gun at his school out of jail. He tells me what he plans to do next.
And we're not tracking a whole lot of rain on the radar now, but that doesn't mean things are quiet in the Weather Center. We are tracking 4 weather makers, how they'll impact our weather the next 4 days.
Tonight, would you please introduce yourself to the audience? Hi.
Cool Dance all new with global supergroup BTS plus Pod Save America. Tonight.